George Washington created this text, although, as John mentioned, there are other authors. Could you tell us a little bit about the moments leading up, or the years leading up to this? Because this is a moment where he decides not to be president any longer. Could you sort of, as a great scholar of Washington's presidency, set the stage of those last months or days of the Washington presidency as he's thinking about this address?
Sure. Well, I think the most important place to start was that Washington really didn't want to stand for a second term at all. He had wanted to be in office for a couple of years and then hightail it as soon as he could. He both didn't particularly like being president because he had to be away from home. He had so much stress and pressure on every single action that he took. He knew that every step would establish precedent for those that came after him. He did not like criticism. And he was worried that this reputation he had spent decades building would be damaged by a poor choice or a poor action. He also had a real commitment to the importance of him leaving office while he was alive. He felt very strongly that the American people needed to choose his successor, that it could not come through his death, that the process of transition and election and peaceful transfer of power had to be learned and practiced and cultivated. And he was determined to try and oversee that. So that was sort of his mindset leading up to 1796. And he had set his mind quite firmly that by early 1796, he was leaving, and decided in February and March of 1796, while Alexander Hamilton was actually in Philadelphia to argue a case in front of the Supreme Court. They had a conversation about this address and sort of got the process rolling and shared a series of drafts over the next several months, and then sat on it until September, partly to sort of keep the election season as short as possible. And Washington then finally published it in the newspaper in September to reach the maximum number of people, to make it clear that he was speaking to the people, not to Congress or to a different branch of government.